So, welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is focused on RC Experts TrackIt. I'm not sure if you did get the email out that just recommended if you have any questions you want to bring to the table, you could either do it pre this session or just bring them today. So what we're going to focus on, as mentioned, is TrackIt. This isn't a webinar per se where we go and present topics to you specifically. This is very much an open discussion. So it's an opportunity for you to talk about your challenges, things that you might want to see, or ask questions. We have a fantastic panel today, which I'll do the introduction very shortly. And just a reminder, if you're new to Zoom, because every technology is slightly different, we don't use the chat function, we use the Q&A section. So if you do have questions, we do take them after and create a blog post. You're more than welcome to put them into the Q&A. Otherwise, you can raise your hand and we'll come to you and you can take yourself off mute and then we'll answer your questions. So without further ado, let me just introduce myself. Firstly, I'm Samantha Hudson dos Santos Figueira. There's no points for trying to guess the name, but just in case, it's English, Spanish and Portuguese together. I work as a program manager, so some of you may have seen or heard my voice before. I work in digital support, so I will work across all of our products and work with different people like Mega, who's going to introduce herself shortly, or some of the product teams to create content, and that'll either be on a how-to type video, which is how to fix something or do something. They go straight to YouTube. And then I focus a lot of time weekly on webinars. Some of you may have gone on the TrackIt webinars or BCM if you use client management as well. So my role is a program manager to get content out to you, help you self-solve, and basically connect you to BMC. So I'm now going to hand over to my co-host, Mega, if you can introduce yourself, and then let's move along the panel.
Yeah. Thank you, Sam. Hello, everyone. My name is Megha, and I'm working with BMC TrackIt and Footprint product from last 5 years. So last few couple of back, I have delivered the one TrackIt webinar, which was regarding the TrackIt upgrade process from old build version to the new V version. So if you have any questions regarding to the webinar, please feel free to ask. And you can access this webinar from our YouTube channel, which is TrackIt and Footprint. And I'm really glad to be a part of this session. But this is the short introduction I have. So I would like to pass this opportunity to Brian. Thank you.
Thank you, Megha. This is Brian. I've been working with TrackIt for 8 years now, supporting TrackIt from this side. Basically, I'm the subject expert in TrackIt, and I'm here to answer all your technical questions if they come through. Happy to be part of this webinar. Thank you.
Eric, do you want to go next?
Happy to. Thanks. My name is Eric List. I am the Area Vice President for R&D and Product Management for a group of products here at PMC, one of them being TrackIt. I've been associated with TrackIt for a long, long time, and in terms of product management, engineering, and other parts. So if you have any questions related to what's the strategy for the product, where are we going with it, what are we going to be doing, I'll be able to answer any of those questions for you. So thanks very much. And I'll go ahead and pass to Sridhar.
Thanks, Eric. And myself, Sridhar. I am the engineering manager for TrackIt, and I also manage the other product footprints. So my role here is in BMC spans for a couple of decades now, and I oversee all the release aspects of the TrackIt product, and any questions that you have in relation with what goes in, what goes out, and how to contact, whom to contact. So I'm the one. Yep. Thanks for this opportunity to be part of this webinar, and I'll pass it on to Prashant.
Thank you, Sridhar. Hi, my name is Prashant Upadhyay. I'm a senior developer at BMC Software. I've worked on TrackIt for over 5 years. Thank you for inviting me to this webinar, and pretty excited to have an interactive session with all of you here.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for introducing yourself. So we'll get started. We didn't have any questions that came up early, so we'll just recap. I know, Mega, you've done quite a bit of content you've been creating, so maybe we could start with that, and then we'll go across the team to see what other things they might want to share while customers decide if they've got any questions. So if I can just get you to do a recap.
Yeah, hi everyone. So the last webinar, as we had delivered, which was regarding the upgrade process. So most of the part we have covered in the upgrade, how you can upgrade your TrackIt application from old build version to new. So basically it was a in-place upgrade process from 2020 version series to the latest one. So please feel free to ask if you have any questions or if you didn't attend the webinar. So if you have anything, you can ask the questions with respect to the webinar and other questions what you would like to ask. Brian, do you have anything you would like to share here?
No, I think going also with the last webinar, and we had Brian that also attended and supported that webinar as a panelist. I know that there was quite a few questions, and forgive me for picking up on Lainey. I know we've had a couple of sessions and you've also joined them. There was a lot of conversation around the upgrade process, around importing to more modern applications as well. So Brian, I don't know if you want to bring that content and that context in, because I think that's possibly a conversation that we can expand on with Eric.
Yeah, surely. So the question that was asked was is there an Amigo program basically to bring in or to migrate from Footprint and TrackIt basically to a more modern applications in BMC products in the BMC portfolio, like the Helix portfolio. That was one of the questions that I've heard from one of our partners, and uh, so uh, from the technical point of view, currently there isn't a tool available to do that right now. But yeah, I think Eric can shed some more light on this.
Yeah, sure, happy to help. Yeah, there isn't a tool at the moment to do that, but it is certainly possible to migrate data from one system to another. That's done on a regular basis, but it usually is something that does require some professional services engagement from a partner or from BMC. Typically from partners, they do a really good job of that. So yeah, if you're interested in moving from any of the existing products over to Helix ITSM, that is there. Just reach out to your account manager. They can help you in terms of understanding how the pricing happens, and also getting you in contact with the right folks to be able to move the data from one system to the other. Thanks.
Thanks, Eric. So I'll hand over to our attendees. Obviously, you're all very quiet at the moment. Is there anything particularly that's challenging, or thoughts that you've got, or questions for the team? You've obviously heard from them. We've introduced different roles and responsibilities. This is an interactive session, so this is more for you than us to share too much. So do you want to ask some questions or have any in mind? Don't be shy.
I've never known Ron Sorrell to be shy in the past, so I'm surprised. I'm surprised you're not on already, Ron.
What do you want me to ask you? Hard questions like when you bring client-side business rules back?
That is a hard question. So yeah, that's something we definitely want to bring in. It's something that we've got in our back pocket, and so the valid question is where does it hit? The answer to that one is I don't know yet. Because what we're doing right now is our primary focus is on, making sure we're stable, making sure we're up to the right levels of product support, and dealing with making sure that we've got the right kind of ease of use functionality in place. And once we get through that backlog, then that's a big meaty piece of work that we want to do. But like I said, it's we've kind of got to work through the other stuff first. I can't project when we'll get to that yet because we still got other stuff coming in. But I can say it's not something that's forgotten, because the client side business rules that were available, previously in like the Magic product were really powerful, and allowed our customers to do a lot of interesting things in terms of interacting with their customers. So that concept's still there. It's still on the back burner, and I do intend for us to get to that at some point. I just can't predict the date and time right now. But valid question.
Lainey, do you have any questions? I know obviously we've spoken to you this week, and I know you've gone on a couple of the other webinars. I know most of your challenges tend to be with client management because you're a TrackIt user. Is there anything and feedback just in general with using TrackIt?
No, I didn't have any particular questions. I was just listening in. We've been very happy with TrackIt, aside from the migration process. So I'm just listening.
And I'm trying to remember, forgive me, are you on the latest? Because I know we did have, it may have been the conversation with yourself about upgrading, or it could have been another customer, but I know there was quite a few questions that came up around upgrades on our last webinar. Ron's put you a question in into the Q&A. Speaking of BCM, when will the TrackIt support the new released BMC version? Ron, you can come off mute if you want to talk.
Yeah, then Shrita, you're probably best to talk on that one. Do you have line of sight on that one?
Right. So we are already working on integrating the 22.4.1 version of BCM. So there are apparently little challenges in terms of the software license management, which we are sorting them out before we have the release. So the next release of TrackIt will contain the latest BCM support.
Yep. And in regard to BCM in general, it's one of the things we can talk about here too is BCM's undergoing a content change right now. So there's if you go and look online for BCM, you'll see a little bit of weirdness in the version numbers. One of the things that we're doing right now is we're in the process of replacing a third-party vendor that provided us the data that we used for the software catalog with internally built data. We did this because we really want to have a lot more control over the cadence and the quality of the data that we're getting around that, as well as some contractual issues that we had with the third-party company that kind of accelerated it. So what we have going on right now is a running project with the R&D team to rebuild out a bigger, better catalog than we had in the past. We've still got some work to do on that one. And so, we'll see that happen over the next release or two with BCM. We'll be strengthening that catalog as we go along, but we have a dedicated team working on that. And I think by the time we finish off the product or the project, we'll have a much better kind of situation with the catalog than we've had in the past. And very much excited about that because I think it'll make the software recognition capabilities a lot more coherent for users. So if you're using BCM with TrackIt, that's one of the things to kind of stick in your back pocket and know that's coming down the line.
Hopefully that's good news for everyone. Okay.
What else is out there, y'all? So we've got another one. I'll throw that one to Sridhar again as well. So Sridhar, the question is, any update when TrackIt Mail Services will support Microsoft 365 and OAuth 2.0?
I think we already support that. So
yeah, I thought the OAuth 2.0 support was out already.
yes, that's already there. You're not alone.
Ron typed, oh, might be confused with footprints. And yeah, I agree.
There's a lot of products. It's a lot to remember.
Yeah. Yeah, the two products are interesting in the sense that they kind of, it's a Venn diagram of the use cases and the customer spaces that they cover. So there's a fair amount of overlap between customers who use TrackIt and customers who use footprints, and also a fair amount of overlap between the functionality that they provide and Ron, as a partner who's been with these two products for a long time, can suffer from the same level of confusion we do here internally in terms of which one are we talking about right now. So much understood.
Thanks for fielding the questions as well, Ron. Everyone else is shy. You're doing it for the team. So I'll throw a question to Mega and Brian, actually, just because you guys both work prolifically with customers, tickets and cases and things that are going on in support. What are you actually seeing? Where are most of the challenges? How are they being resolved? Because it'd be really good to share that with customers, because every problem that a customer has, it's very isolated to their environment. Is there just a general theme of where you see those challenges and how have we managed to get over those to help support customers? I think that would be a really good, nice area to kind of focus on. I don't know if Mega or Brian want to talk.
Yeah, definitely. So most of the challenges we have seen about to configuration of Office 365, and we definitely assist them by taking the remote control. But most of the communication challenges we have been facing with the Azure Direct Active Directory and their permission related. So if you guys have any questions related Office 365 or email challenges you guys are facing, please feel free to ask here.
Does anyone, I guess we'll ask the attendees or our customers, do any of you face any issues like that, or has everything been pretty good? Camilla or Latilio, do you want to just give us maybe some feedback how you're using TrackIt, and are you happy? And
well, right now we are in the middle of Sandra Barnes, who is our DBA, who has migrated all of our data from TrackIt 11 over to TrackIt 20. First 20.23, and now we're at 20.24. Now we're just trying to clean up the data because the migration caused a lot of parent-child. And so now we're having to migrate, or not migrate, but merge those together and delete data that we don't need. So it's been a process for us. We're still in the middle of it. We haven't gone live with 20.24 yet. But we're hoping once we get all of our data, as far as the asset management side of it completed, then we'll be able to go live. I think they're shooting for, well, they're shooting for any day that we can turn it loose and say we're ready to go. But we're also in the middle of a new admin building being built and moving in there. So got a lot of projects on for us right now.
Yeah, and the transition from 11 to 11.x to 20 is a major transition, right? It's moving from an old client server architecture onto the new browser-based technology, and it's honestly fair to say it's not really an upgrade in any way, shape, or form. It's a completely new product relative to the 11x. Yeah, so you've got a big project in front of you, and then there's also the challenges in getting everybody used to how things work differently in the new product as well. So I think that's probably the next thing you'll kind of bump into is as people try to adapt to the new model of working in this version. Well, when we made this new version, we spent a lot of time trying to make sure it was as similar as possible in the user interactions to 11.x. There were certain things that certainly don't work that way or weren't good to continue working that way because the world had changed around us. So you'll definitely run into some challenges there in terms of making sure everybody understands how to use it, and probably some need for a little help along the way. So the good news there is that as you do run into those, we've got folks like our friends Mega and Brian here to help. So don't hesitate to reach out to the support team if those things happen, and we'll be here to help with that.
I think Sandra, I don't think she's on today, but she is our point of contact for everything. So she usually reaches out when we run across an issue. The only thing that we're seeing that we're not liking so far is the audit trail.
Yep.
11 had an audit trail where we could go back and find what had been done with an asset. This does not contain an audit trail, and so that's maybe a little problematic for us, but we will push through it and figure out how we're going to have to make this work a little better for us.
Yeah, and Sridhar, you can probably kind of talk about where we are on that one. Would you mind fielding that one?
Yeah, sure, Eric. So audit trail for tickets and assignments, our tickets is already in place. So we're working on getting a holistic audit trail that we have in TrackIt 11 or version 11, because version 11, as you know, it captures a lot of things. And now we have to have very similar data being captured, what we receive from the client management. So that's where the engineering challenges lie, and we are working towards it. So pretty soon, like we would be rolling that out in the one of the releases.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Thank you. And I guess let's ask, is there anyone else that wants to share their experience? Have you started your migration process? Where are you at? I don't know if someone else from a different company wants to talk. Not used to everyone being so quiet, Eric. It's the Friday feeling.
It's not all of us have gotten through our coffee yet this morning, so it could be that. The only reason I'm even alive is I got the 55-gallon drum of caffeine here, so not everyone has that same advantage.
No, and I'm already getting to the end of my day. Andy's just put a question actually into the Q&A, and Andy, feel free to come off mute if you just prefer to put it into the Q&A. That's fine. So he's put, are there any updates on making the self-service portal more configurable, changing colors, fielding lists, etc.? So I don't know who wants to answer that question.
Yeah, I think I can get it unless there's anything Sridhar short term that I'm not aware of that you're on. But what I can say is this ties into what Ron was asking earlier. So one of the larger features that we want to be able to put back into the product is called client-side business rules, and they can apply both on the technician view, but also a set of those that were in self-service. And what they allow you to do is set these business rules that allow you to change what's on the screen dynamically based on things that the user is entering into the form at that point in time. So that's one of the things that we're eyeing. It's like I said earlier, it's a bit of a ways out because we're still dealing with kind of more tactical things like the audit trail item that we just talked a minute ago. Those are the things that are kind of in front of that. But as we clear out through those types of things, then we'll move into other items like this one. So that's there. And then in terms of being able to move over, 1 second, let me take a look. Make sure I see the whole question. Okay,
Yeah, I see.
change the colors, field list, sort, things like that. Sridhar, I thought we have some of that in there already on the self-service side. Do you not?
Yeah, so we do have certain capabilities, but if we are talking about a holistic theme for the entire self-service, because for my company, I need my brand to be applied for the self-service. So if we are talking in terms of theming the self-service, that's it to be worked upon. So we are now covering, as Eric mentioned, like we are covering the much needed configuration part where you can have more finer control over what's visible, what's not visible to end customers, and you will have those controls in place. And once we finish with all those, then we'll jump on having the ability to have your own theme-based self-service for individual organizations.
So Andy, are we covering what you're looking for, or is it something different?
Well, that's it. It's just a matter of right now you only have choices to unhide certain fields, right? You don't have a choice to move the fields up and down or change it around. That's all.
Yeah. So more of the full form design capabilities, what you're thinking of, right?
Like the technician.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think, Ron, you picked up on that as well in the chat I've seen in the Q&A, also saying about removing and hiding change approval query from self-serve.
Yeah, it is something actually Andy and I were just looking at yesterday. He was showing me that you have, you can actually hide, new tickets and view tickets, but you can't do anything with the change approvals. And Andy, there's another one there. Change approvals. What else was there?
Just the change. We had to go into the CSS to remove view my changes or view all changes.
Gotcha. Okay, there was 2 queries there. Yeah. So just for people who don't use that feature, it's kind of confusing. Why is it there? Why?
Yep. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, because you have all the other ones. I just don't know why one's missing.
more changes on the line. So just watch out for the next release
Okay.
or next few releases.
All right.
Yeah, but let's jot that one down, Sridhar, if you would, and just let's make
Yes.
sure we've got that one covered.
Thank you guys for bringing that up.
Mhm.
Ron, I don't know if we answered your other question you put in earlier around the migration tool being changed to bring over updated inventory on the final phase.
Yeah, so there's a change in the way the migration tool was created. When it first created, in fact, I don't know if it ever got updated. I haven't checked recently that, the really one, I guess, would every time you ran it, you would bring over all the new information. It only bring over this information that changed. Now, in the current one, that's not true. The migration tool actually blows away everything except inventory. And it'll actually bring all the tickets over again, all the assignments, all the change, all that. But the inventory is frozen at ever what was brought on in the first phase. And it tells you nothing new is coming over. So if you have a gap of a month or 2 months and you have inventory and TrackIt that's not there due to discovery, you made changes to information that's not brought through discovery, you will not get that in the final phase. Therefore, your inventory information in the new TrackIt is going to be out of date.
So the original intent when we put all this together is a lot like you described. What we wanted to be able to do is keep all of the kind of the configuration information static, right? You bring it over once, and then it stays put, and then to make sure everything stayed in sync, so that gave you the ability to play with the tool, get used to it, all that other stuff, and then when you're ready to go live, you run it again, and it leaves all your configuration stuff the same, and then brings over all over the data from scratch. I think so. I thought, Sridhar, when we did that the inventory was part of that. Is this, and it's been a while, so I've kind of forgotten. Is this something that we didn't finish? Is this a defect? Do you have any sense on this one?
I think like we did the changes for the asset migration. So hey Prashant, like can you chime in and then provide details on that?
Yeah, so we bring in the assets. So when you do a remigration, we bring in the assets which were newly created, and we update certain fields of the already existing assets. So I believe if there's some other fields which are missing, when we update it, then we can add that to the migration tool.
Yeah, but just to be, and I haven't checked the latest version to be sure, but your migration tool, when I last looked at it, which is like maybe a version ago, it specifically states new data is not going to come over. So and I even tested with a client. It was very frustrating that new stuff added. You may update some. We even saw some of those updates talking about, but new items, and it just says right migration tool, that's not coming over. It states it in while you're running it.
Our migration tool has the ability to bring in new assets. It sounds like a defect. We'll take a look at it.
Okay, take a look at it. Just that your documentation on my form itself says it's not going to happen. You actually state that that's going to be that way. So your migration tool is doing exactly what you're telling when you run it. It's doing exactly what it says it's going to do. So I don't know if that was a problem for it. And again, I haven't looked at the latest release, so maybe I'll look at that myself. And maybe it was a change made since then.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, is that something you've seen?
No, it's the opposite actually. We run it first time, it brings the assets data. You run the second time, it brings the delta. And it brings only the new assets that were created in 11.4. It does not update the existing assets that were previously migrated. So it only brings the new assets that were added since the last migration took place.
And maybe I get that confused. I'll recheck again too, because that may be it's been a while since like that. So maybe I'm the one that's confused on it.
Okay. Well, so what I was about to suggest before that, Ron, is that we open up a ticket on your behalf and go check into that. But what I'd ask is go take a look. And if you're not seeing what you expect, let's open up a ticket and talk about it and make sure we understand what you're seeing. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you, Ron. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that's all our questions that were in the chat. Does anybody else want to contribute or ask any questions? Otherwise, I'll hand back to Mega and we'll just talk about the session that's coming up next week. Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay. Mega, do you want to talk about your webinar on Tuesday next week, what you're going to be covering? Because I will share that out to the customers that have attended today so they can join up for that session. Do you want to just talk about that?
Yeah, sure, Sam. So the next week we are going to deliver the new webinar. The webinar will be for footprint application and the business rules and the configurations of business rule and their issues. They're currently facing the customers' issues. So we are going to talk about that. So I would request you guys, please join this new webinar and we are going to conduct Ask an Expertise for the same product on 19th of March. So I would request you please join this webinar and then ask an expertise session. So you will get to know what are the difference in the new footprint product.
Okay, thank you. So any parting thoughts from the rest of the panel? Anything else that you want to share that you think might be useful for the customers? Don't know if anyone has any more comments.
No, the thing I'll add is, the team is still really focused on TrackIt. We have that team dedicated to TrackIt. That's all they work on. We're continuing to develop the product. As you're hearing, we've got updates coming out specific to some of the questions that you've been asking about, such as the audit trail. So that's moving forward, and we've got a long backlog of other stuff behind it that we're working on. I would encourage you all to continue to reach out to support, to me, to Sridhar, whoever it is, when you have questions or concerns. We're here to answer those that you have. You can always reach out to your account manager. They know how to grab us by the scruff of the neck and drag us on a call with you as needed. And so we're certainly available for you all. And I'll just add, thank you all very much for your business. We appreciate it and look forward to continuing to add more value to the product that you're using today. So thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Prashant or Sridhar, anything from you? Observations or things you want to share?
Yeah, I just saw the message from Ron on the chat about the TrackIt community partner webpage. So definitely, so that was my ask. I'm going to put forth in my talk. See, communities is where we exchange ideas, we all grow together. So in addition to it's not necessarily where we come in and we log in and then answer queries and solve others' problems. If there is any ideas that you think like that will be beneficial to the customers as a whole, so feel free to add those ideas. And definitely, yes, so I take this ownership for updating the partner section of the community. So we'll be start hearing with more updates as and when we are ready to share with you guys first. So that's on me.
Thanks, Rita. And I'm not sure if everyone knows where that community page is, so I'll get you to share it after. My team, actually, I've got a team in India that look after communities. So if there's anything else that we need to do as a team from a development standpoint, then obviously let me know. We know that it's pretty active, a lot of the other product groups, and if it's useful, it's very handy to have. To talk initially, and then if it's a case of it's something very specific to a customer's environment, we often say you need to open a support case. And I think certainly Mega and the team, we need to make sure that you're on there to help support if you're not already there as well. So I'm happy, Sridhar, to have a look at that with you. I manage quite a lot of the community pages. So thanks, Ron. Okay. I don't have anything else further. I really didn't know how long this conversation was going to be, if there was going to be any questions. So Ron, thank you for sort of shaping it out, and also for the other customers and your questions. If you do have anything else further that you want to talk about personally because of your environment, then do reach out to support, or you can touch base with me. I will be sending out a survey as well. So if there's any content that you would like in some of the documentation, such as videos, Mega's with me for another few more weeks. She works very closely with Brian. So when we do problem management in support, often when reoccurring issues come up, we look at how can we get that content and make sure other customers don't feel that same pain point. They will create knowledge articles, and on the knowledge articles will be videos, short how-tos, and that's what we're posting out onto YouTube. So I will share that. I will also share the webinar page. I'll give you the details if you're also a Footprints customer for the next one. next week. We've got a few more sessions coming up. And again, I will work very closely with Eric and Shrida. If we've got any future updates we want to share, then we will try to build this webinar program covering the products that often get forgotten about.